Hi boys! Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. I'm Navy Dad, this is Rusted Bolts Garage, and I just hit 500 subscribers. In fact, 526. That is unbelievable. Seriously, I can't believe that. Yay! That's pretty awesome. I gotta thank y'all. I mean, I had never thought that would even happen. I'm just doing this for fun. Bug the crap out of my sons, annoy them, see what their crazy dad's doing, maybe embarrass them a little bit. That's what dads do, right? So, yeah, I guess I might have to do that YouTube thing and, you know, do the advertising thing. I don't know, maybe. Kind of annoying. Or t-shirts. Yeah. I think I'm going to do t-shirts as I get close to 1,000. Got some ideas for some cool ones. We'll see what comes up. Okay, let's get started with this video. It's not a Miata video. I'm sorry. We're getting close. Pepper's mad at me. He bit me today. Right there, see? He was mad. So anyway, this video came out of several questions that I've had on Old Blue on the seats that I have in the truck. Actually been asked twice at the gas station, like, dude, what kind of seats are those? How'd you do that? And at a car show. No, Old Blue was not in the car show. He was parked next to it while I was attending the car show, and some dude was getting in his truck. He said, dude, what kind of seats are those? So anyway, I thought I'd do a quick video and show you how I did this, what seats to use, what are available, and what seat uprights and / tracks that you need to use. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go get the seat tracks and we'll start there. Okay, these are the seat tracks. These are just your standard base model non-electric OBS truck tracks. But what the most important thing is actually the top of the track here is where that hole and that hole are. Okay, hold on here. Again, the most important thing about these tracks is from here to here is 14 inches. And there are many GM seats that the frame within the seat itself is 14 inches. Some examples, F-body seats, 3rd generation and 4th generation F-body seats, S10 seats, S10 Blazer seats, a whole slew of mid-range GM cars like the Beretta, you know, all of those mid-sized cars from the late 80s through about 99. Now, in particular, what we're going to be talking about today is Pontiac Bonneville seats. So, like I said, there's many different seats that you can use. A lot of guys out there actually using late model Tahoe and Silverado seats. You do have to make some modifications. You got to drill some extra holes. So what this video is about is doing it simple, cheap. You only have to drill 2 holes. So we'll get started and I'll show you the seat that I chose. Well, wait, let's back up and let's explain some of the seats. Okay, so the seat that I'm going to use is Pontiac Bonneville, which are super comfy, you'll see, from 1992 to 1999. You really can't use the later model seats with the integrated seat belt. The track is it's not 14 inches on the bottom. I mean, you could modify it and make it make it work, but the integrated seat belt and then using a different style track and mounting system, I don't think I would recommend that. You just don't know where the weak points are. So I wouldn't use those seats. And of course, they have been done, people are using them, but again, I'm doing this simple and cheap. Because this whole thing costs 30 bucks per seat, 25 bucks for the seat tracks. So let's go over to the seat and I'll kind of show you what we're talking about. And then we'll talk about what trucks that you can get these tracks out of. Okay, so here we have our seats. These particular seats came out of a 1996 Bonneville. In just a couple minutes, I'll show you how they're installed in the truck. I already have a set installed in the truck, obviously. I pick these up every time I go to the junkyard. If I can find a good set of these, I'll pick them up. I've had, I think, 5 sets, and you just turn around and sell them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace because these are pretty easy to find in really good condition. F-body seats, S10 seats, that kind of stuff, they're getting very hard to find, especially in the southern states like Texas where the sun just destroys that. It's very difficult to find those seats now in this part of the country. But cars like this were a little more cared for, probably garage kept, and maybe kept a little bit longer, not as beat up. These are actually really nice and came out of a very clean car. And I'll talk about a couple of other seats in just a second. But what the most important part is right here and here. This is where the seat mounts to the factory track in the car, in the Bonneville in this case. And you don't take the track out. In fact, these are 13 millimeter screws. I remove these, I actually leave the seat track in the car. One, it's heavy. Two, most places like Pick and Pull, even if it wasn't originally an electric seat, as this was in this case, if you don't bring the track with you, they're not going to charge you for a power seat. They're just going to charge you for a manual seat, so it's a lot cheaper. Plus, that's a heck of a lot lighter. These seats don't weigh anything. But add that track, and that's a good 25 pounds that you've got to drag halfway across the junkyard. So leave the seat tracks in the car. You're going to need a 13 millimeter wrench. Let me grab it. Hold on. Okay, so this is my favorite wrench of choice. You see it's a Cobalt 13 millimeter ratchet wrench, and this makes it really easy. Sometimes it's a little hard to get a regular ratchet wrench under there. You don't have to move the seat, even if it's electric, and if it's pushed all the way back or all the way forward. These are still really easy to get to. So again, leave the seat track in the car. Here's a little video that I took while I was at the junkyard pulling this out, and it made me bleed. But hey, junkyard trip without a little blood isn't worth it, right? Yeah, and yes, I did manage to cut myself. See? Whoops. Well, it wouldn't be a junkyard run without a little blood, right? So now let's go over to the truck, and I'll show you how I installed those and what you need to do. Okay. Now, this truck, obviously, I'm going to be completely redoing everything in this interior. Dash, everything is going to be completely redone. Even the headliner, which is surprisingly, in a weird way, in really good shape. So here's what this truck looked like when I bought it. Kind of Godzilla's playpen a little bit. Yeah, the seat was just disgusting, as you. So I don't even know. And but I decided that, you know, eventually I want to make this a sport truck, and so I started hunting around. I found something on one of the forums, and I'll see if I can find the link and put it down below, on actually doing these Pontiac seats. And the gentleman that put that how-to together had all kinds of ways to measure and figure out exactly where to drill the holes. It was a really easy way to do it. So that's what I'll kind of show you here next. But okay, sorry about the lighting here. It's 88 degrees outside. It's Sunday, October 20th. Yep, and it's 47% humidity, so it's quite a day today. Anyway, here are the uprights bolted to these seats. And as I was mentioning earlier, I have situations where, of course, you're going to have to deal with power seat. This one was an upline car, so it's power seat. I just disconnected everything and left the plate in place because this was a manual adjustment, so I don't have to worry about that. So, okay, let's get under here. Yeah, these are kind of rusty. I never cleaned them up because these are temporary, and I'll explain that in a minute. So, what you do not have to measure anything. What you want to do is go ahead and bolt the uprights to your seats. Get them, make sure that they're straight and locked in on the correct teeth. Then, well, here, can we see? Go ahead and bolt down this side. You're using the factory holes from the bench seat. So you're just going to bolt them right back in here. Then come over here with, it'll be solid in place. You're just going to take a Sharpie and scribe with your Sharpie there, and then pull the seat back out and drill your holes, and you're set. Now let me go underneath and show you a couple of caveats under here. Okay, so that is the factory spot welded in nut for the seat bracket, and there's the other one. Of course, there is not one for a vehicle that did not originally come with bucket seats. So this is where you're going to drill your holes, and this is why it's so important to get all of the hardware when you are taking the seat brackets out at the junkyard. And I'll go over the hardware in just a few minutes. Use a large washer, and again, I'm going to go over all the hardware and let you know here shortly on what stuff you need. But get all of the original hardware, because those are the original bolts, and you're just going to add your own big old flat washer for safety, lock washer, and of course your nut. Now let me go over to the passenger side, because there is one thing that you have to know about these trucks. Okay, so here are the inner bolts on the passenger side. Now moving over to this is a heat shield for the catalytic converter, which is up there. There is a panel right here that you have to remove if your vehicle is not originally equipped with bucket seats. Now it is die cut, and there's a tab here and one on this side, and I think one down on the bottom. So what I did is I just cut one side with a Dremel. There's a hole in it. Just bend it down with a screwdriver and pop it out. That way you'll have access, of course, to the hole you just drilled to put your hardware in for the inner upright on the passenger side, or should I say on the right side, in case you have some weird GMT 400 that, you know, right-hand drive. No, you won't. Never mind. Okay, hardware. Yeah, I know, that's not a beer. I gotta go over to Mom's later, and, you know, so that'll be afterwards. Anyway, so let's talk about hardware. Okay. And again, I want to stress the importance of making sure that you get all of the bolts. All right. And, oh crap, don't forget to grab all your hardware. All right, so these are the bolts that actually mount the seat bracket to the floor. They are 15 millimeters. So get all those. These are 13 millimeters. And this is the bolt that actually bolts the seat track to the seat itself. And you can get up under there really easily, even if it's power and it's pushed one way or the other, you can get up there really easy to get these out. In fact, here's my tool of choice. In fact, I walked in with just this tool, and the guy was like, you sure you don't need anything else? Nope, I'm good. So something interesting about these, if you can tell here, that's a self-tapper. These are the same bolts that bolt the seat base in the truck to the actual seat. They're actually the same size, but the head is 10 millimeter, and these are not self-tapping. Now, so they're a little hard to get out, so just make sure that you've got a good tool with you, because they do have Loctite on them, and then of course they were self-tapped, and that was basically the only time they had ever been in that. So they're in there tight, so you're going to have to grunt a little bit. As opposed to the truck, which doesn't have any Loctite, is the same size, is not a self-tapper, but has a 10 millimeter head on it, which is weird. So what you're going to need when you go to the junkyard, if you're just going to do this, you're going to need a 15 millimeter to remove the uprights. You're going to need a 10 millimeter to take the Chevy seats off if they're not already off the truck, because a lot of people will just take the seats. And you are going to need a 13 millimeter to remove the seats from your Pontiac if you choose to use the Pontiac. Don't forget these. These are kind of the extra support springs, and these are from the truck, and they're attached to the upright to the truck's seat. you got to make sure you get these, or you're going to have a hard time scooting the seat back and forth. Basically, it's a helper spring. So make sure you get it, because if you remove these from the actual upright as you're removing the bolts from the truck seat, you could easily forget these. So make sure you get those. Okay, so that's how easy they install. You simply have to drill 2 holes, bolt them in, and you're done. So I'll go ahead and install the tracks on this seat for you real quick, and then we'll actually go over the tracks just a little bit. The tracks varied a little bit throughout the production run of the 88 to 98 and 99 1 ton, and let's not forget the lonely 2000 Tahoe Limited, because that was an OBS truck. You get that? All right, so go ahead and hold these in place. Don't forget your helper spring. As I said earlier, make sure you get all the hardware. Pull right there in all these seats. Hook it up there, and hook it up to the mount in the bracket, and you're good to go. Make sure they're nice and even so that you can put them in the truck and mark your hole like I showed you here a few minutes ago, and install them. So here we are. There you go. Seats all ready to bolt into your OBS pickup truck, and look how comfy these are. In fact, I'm kind of liking this velour here. The leather gets a little sticky. I might swap these seats out and sell those. Alright, so let's talk about the tracks themselves. Okay, first we'll talk about the seat tracks. Obviously, I just showed you those. So, what do you get them out of? Well, these came out of any OBS truck, and that includes Tahoes and Suburbans, Sierras, Silverados, whatever, that had a manual seat. You can have manual seats with buckets, you can have manual seats with bench. Now here's the cool thing. Let's say you have a pickup truck that has manual bench seats. Okay, you need to go to the junkyard and find another pickup truck with a manual bench seat, or a single pickup truck with a passenger side bucket seat. Because you can take your manual bench seat and use both ends as a single bucket seat for the driver's side. It has to be the driver's side because the lever's on the driver's side. All you have to do is shorten that wire. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to shorten that wire, and this becomes a bucket seat set. Now, GM did change the seat brackets a little bit. I'm going to talk strictly about doing a standard cab pickup truck. Can you use the power seat and upgrade to power seat? Yes, you can, but you need to use a power seat mechanism through, I believe it is through 94, because they changed it. They changed the seat design, and they changed that through in 95, and it's a little bit different. It doesn't mount up the same way. But why would you want to do that in a standard cab truck? You're going to set it and you're not going to move it. Again, try and find a set of bucket seats. You know, a lot of times you go to the junkyard and the tracks are still in the truck, and they'll just unbolt and take the seats. So a lot of, in fact, that set is this set of brackets was the same, was that way for the passenger side. These are actually the same color, but one came out of a 93 and Silverado, and then the other one came out of a 95 Suburban. So, but they were the same color, so they worked out perfectly. So actually, you know, again, just look for this seat bracket. That's the one you want to use. Now, a word about seats. Like I said, I'm particular to the Pontiac Bonneville seats just because they are so comfortable. They're fairly easy to find in good condition. They were available in leather. They were available in the nice, whatever you call that, belt crap, but it's comfy. But also, if you can't find those, you can also use the bench seat, the 60-40 split bench seat that came in those cars as well. The center section has like a little armrest on it, and you can also sit 3 people in there. It doesn't have any extra bracketing aside from, or for the middle section. You can bolt those directly into your truck too, and you can use the same Pontiac Bonneville seats, the bench seat, the 60/40 split seat in your truck if you do not want to put a console in and you still need room for 3 people. So here's a picture of one. There you go. So that'll work too. Now, other vehicles, like I said, there's tons of seats that you can use. So I'm honing in again specifically on the Bonneville seats. But there is one other seat that I do want to mention, and that is the Oldsmobile Aurora 1st Gen 95 through 99. That is a very comfortable seat, and it is thinner. So if you're a little bit taller, it will fit fine in there. And the only caveat is that it was a full power seat by default, and the power seat mechanism was on the door. So well, you'll unbolt it the same way that you did with this and leave the track in there. But the motor itself for the electric tilt is inside the seat. So all the electrics are there, and you can hook them up to a switch and stick it there, and you can have, you know, I think there's actually bolster in there too, and the wiring on some models, and the wiring is there too, so you can actually wire that up aside from the seat track itself. So again, I'm recommending the Pontiac Bonneville seats because they're so comfortable. They're fairly easy to find even in our area like this, Texas, where heat tends to destroy seats, but they're still available. So again, I know I'll probably get some hey, I had these seats installed, or I installed these seats. That's great, and post it so we can let everybody else know. But again, this is in particular to our standard cab OBS C1500 GMT 400 pickup trucks and 92 to 99 Pontiac Bonneville seats. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this one. Boys, we'll see you soon, and thanks again for 500 freaking subscribers. That is awesome. So, guess I'm gonna have to do some t-shirts, huh? We'll see you next time.